Hi guys, KP this side. Hope all of you are doing good. This is vlog number 63 in Decoding Equity Markets with KP. Uh, Last week has been a good one. The Towards the end of the week, we have seen some good momentum in Nifty, Bank Nifty, as well as in Dow Jones. Now, the reason why Nifty and Bank Nifty were looking good on Thursday and Friday, one reason was the stance taken in monetary policy and the commentary by the RBI governor. And for Dow Jones, primarily the upside was on account of fall in crude oil prices towards the end of the week. And once the levels which were touching around 94 95 dollars per barrel of Brent crude, I think the week has ended with around 82.5 83 dollars per barrel. There has been a significant fall in this week, owing to the fact that the demand overall globally is going to be staying down, given that most of the economies are going through a recessionary phase. So overall, if you see, it has been a good week for us. And like I told you, that at this point of time, the main factor which is going to decide how markets are going to be, which I told you last week also, is how crude oil prices will behave in the next 7 to 15 days. And since this week the prices have been on the lower side, the stock markets have given you a good reaction on the positive side. Now, uh, how about US? The US, one shocking news that came in on Friday was the fact that in September month, the jobs being created stands at 3,36,000. 3,36,000. I have told you multiple times, if jobs being created in US are more than anticipated, that clearly shows that the economy is not cooling off at any point of time, and the resilience is there in the economy, and this can in a way keep inflation high. Even if inflation is not going high, one thing is for sure, that a tight monetary policy would be needed to control inflation within the range in which it is right now. Now, the economist mostly expected 1,70,000 new jobs will be created in September, but the figure stands at 3,36,000, which means it's almost double of what economists were anticipating. Keeping this in mind, surprisingly on Friday, how Dow Jones can give you a closing in green is really shocking. So I've told you, the US markets are good to surprise you. Mostly it's an unpleasant surprise, because they have this tendency to behave opposite of what you expect fundamentally would happen in the market. The moment this news has come out, most of the economists and most of the brokerage houses have given a clear cut warning now, that if jobs are being created at this pace, or all the wages are not growing at a fast pace, which is a reliever for them, but if the jobs are being created at this pace, it clearly shows that economy is still running hot. There is no signs of subdued economy. And if till the time economy is on fire, showing a lot of resilience, showing a lot of growth in the corporate world, probably inflation will not come into the target zone of 2%, which clearly suggests that economy has to go through a longer phase of high interest rates, a tight monetary policy. Interest rates probably will not be cut down for 6 months of 2024 is what we can foresee now, given the current situation. And now 45% of experts believe that before the end of 2023, one more rate hike is very, very much a possibility. Earlier, there were 33% people believing that one more rate hike can come in, but now that number has gone up to 45%, which means almost like half the experts from whom the poll has been done are of a belief that one rate hike may come in. But obviously, whatever said and done, any rate hike coming in will not be a significant one. So right now, maybe even if one more rate hike comes in the US economy, which I am sure will not happen, that's my outlook. I personally feel another rate hike is not happening in US. But let's say even if a rate hike happens, probably we are looking at something like a 0.25% rate hike, which is a 25 basis points, which is not significant. But even if that happens, that probably would be the end of it, a rate hike. For not just for that, for US, in fact, the RBI governor in his latest monetary policy, post monetary policy discussion, he made this point very clear that across the globe, we almost feel that the rates have reached its pinnacle point, which means most of the countries are experiencing their all-time high rates now, and from here on, maybe rate hikes are not looking a possibility. For sure, if economies are showing resilience, then in that case, monetary policy may stay tightened, which means the rate cuts may not happen. But if rate cuts are not happening, still that is another thing to worry about, because if there are no rate cuts, that can also throw your economy into recession, because the idea of keeping your rates on a higher side is to bring a slowdown in the economy, right? So that is the whole point of discussion right now, and that is where most of the economists in US have started fearing that soft landing may not be possible for US economy, and we may be looking at a recession, which was possibly expected in the towards the end of 2023. Most of the economists are saying that this may now happen by third quarter of 2024, second or third quarter of 2024. This is what on a reading of it seems to be happening next year. But if you ask me, I still have a belief, and I've always maintained this. I've told this to you multiple times. I feel a resilient economy is any day better than an economy going into stagnation or recession. So I am a firm believer that if you would have been disciplined with your policies in the first instance, probably you would not have thrown your economy into all these fiscal account deficits, current account deficits and all. So right now you are debt ridden, you don't have funds left. Every time you have to pray, fold your hands to the Congress to release funds. You printed currency like anything. You did not follow the laws of economics. There was not enough gold reserves, but the currency was kept on printing. There was stimulus packages one after the other. So a lot of things have gone wrong for your economy to go into the current situation, which seems to be very bad. But I still feel a resilient economy is a blessing in disguise for US. And I personally feel if this is how things go on, even if the rates are not lowered for another 4 to 6 months, I still don't see any problems coming in. I'm okay with that kind of a situation. Will it again throw the economy into recession after 6 months? Let's not talk what will happen after 6 months, because what we were talking last year about what can happen in 2023 towards the end of the year did not happen. It did not happen. So from here on, if I feel the only reason why jobs are being created, let's talk logics, guys. The only reason jobs are created is the fact that economy is doing good. And if corporate houses are doing good, if industry is doing good, that is the reason why people get employed. And if industry is doing good, even with 5.5% interest rates, that means they are able to absorb that. Now, if the rate cut is not going to happen by another 6 months, probably is the reason why your markets have reacted and they have come down from 35,500 levels to 32,800, 33,000 levels. So has this already been factored in? To me, the answer is yes. This has already been factored in. Now, if you feel that abhi 6 mahine baad fir recession aayega, and because of that we should start selling off the stocks right now, I personally don't see any rationale or any logic in that. I hope this is clear to you what I'm trying to say. How about China? I've already explained last week. There is not much to discuss this week. The manufacturing activity has gone up. The factory activity has gone up. The PMI registered above 50 when the expectation was that it will be around 49.7, but they registered PMI of around 50.2 for the month of September. Real estate, which contributes almost 30% of Chinese economy, has still been seen to be struggling. But probably things are looking better than what we felt at the beginning of the month of September. So we have to wait and watch. But probably China is very sure, the government is very sure on one thing, that they will take appropriate measures from time to time and make sure that the economy does not go into a stagnation mode, or they don't go into a disinflationary environment. So that sounds good, right? Rest you have to give it a time, and I have been telling this for last 2 months that the economy like China, which is the second largest economy in the globe, you don't expect that one or two stimulus is going to change their fate. It's not going to happen. So it now becomes a game of patience. It will test the patience. It will also impact their exports. It will also impact the exports of other countries which are exporting to China, including India. Everybody will suffer for the time being. But then if they don't go into disinflationary environment, which can sustain for 4 to 5 to 10 years, that is in itself a good news for us. Okay, how about India? RBI keeps the repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. This was highly expected. The rate at which the bank lends money to the banks, RBI lends money to the banks, has been kept unchanged at 6.5%. As per the governor, the only worry right now is the crude oil prices. If the crude oil prices go up in next 4 to 6 months, like we're talking about a range of 120s and 125s and 130s, that is when inflation probably can hit back in the economy. Otherwise, right now they are keeping their inflation expectations unchanged at 5.4%. Food inflation has been very much under control. I'm saying everything that has been discussed in the monetary policy. This is not my conviction about the Indian economy. This is what the governor has said in the policy. That is what I'm sharing with you. Again, as I told you, RBI governor is of the belief that a tight monetary policy is expected with rates peaking out across the globe. And he has also said very clearly that we also need to be vigilant, and we will make sure that we don't fall into the grip of inflation again. So for that, if we have to follow a tight monetary policy, we will do that. But right now things are looking under control. They have kept their growth projections for FY24 at 6.5%. How reliable is this number? Are we overestimating our own growth? I don't think so, because World Bank this week has given an Indian growth rate estimation of 6.3% for FY24, and UBS, another very big brokerage house, has given India's growth projections at 6.2% for FY24. This number looks good, especially when you are expecting something like 2.1% for US GDP, something like 2.5 to 3% for Chinese GDP. So when the top two countries across the globe are expected to do something like 2-3% growth in GDP, India registering even, let's say, 6% growth in GDP is still a very, very decent number. That's what I feel. If economic situation across the globe improves, I feel we may even head towards 7%, 7.5%. Am I bullish about Indian markets? I know my readers don't need to know this answer, because they know that I am always bullish on Indian economy. And I have my own reasons for that, which I have explained to you many a times. With the World Cup happening in India right now, Indian economy is expected to add a value of $2.6 billion. So you see these FMCG stocks, companies like Jubilant Foodworks and Zomato, because they are involved in delivery services. So these kind of companies are expected to do very good. The consumption stocks are expected to do very good. Even though a lot of times we chill out, we want to sit back home, relax and see the matches. So stocks like I told you, Jubilant Foodworks, like, because they're into supplies of pizzas and all. Then even for your beer related companies like United Breweries or United Spirits, these companies are expected to do better for next 1.5-2 months, right? Now, crude sitting around $83. A steep fall has happened from 95 to 83 levels. One reason which I could read was the fact that Saudi has committed that it will look into this matter, and it will also try its level best to increase the supplies across the globe. Understood? And apart from India buying crude from Russia, even I think Turkey is another country which is buying crude from Russia. They haven't put sanctions on Russia. Turkey has also committed that they will also try to, if they have any excess supplies, they will try to supply to those countries which are in need of crude. So we feel that the problem for crude prices going up is not going to persist. Further, I have told you one thing very clearly. When it does not make any logical understanding that why crude prices are going up when most of the countries across the globe are facing recession. It does not, the law of demand does not hold good. Crude prices going up seems more like a bubble, which is sooner or later going to burst, because crude prices going up only makes sense in a healthy manner if the demand is continuously rising with supplies being constant. But here the demand is diminishing, but the supply has been intentionally cut off just to keep the prices up. This is artificial. I've been telling this to you. If you're following my videos back to back, I've been shouting at the top of my voice. This is not making any sense. Not making any sense where you intentionally cut down on the supplies just to bring the prices up. But जब demand ही नहीं है market में, when there is no demand or there is less demand compared to what it used to be 6 to 8 months back, then how do you expect consumers will pay you a higher price? Probably they will cut down on the demand further, because that price is not justified price. That is what we say, that bubble will burst sooner than later. Understood? So अभी JP Morgan क्या बोलता है, Goldman Sachs क्या बोलता है, 100 चला जाएगा, 110 हो जाएगा, 150 हो जाएगा. See, I don't know all that, but I don't see any solid and good enough reason why crude prices should be shooting up to those levels. Right now, I don't see the level. I don't see any reasons. 90 to 95 तक justified है, because the fall happened from 125, 130 levels. It went down to $69, $70 per barrel. So anything around 90 is a mean reversal. That much is expected. ठीक है, उतना हो सकता है. But during that crisis situation when recession is hitting most of the countries, with a country like China, which is one of the biggest consumers, they are also facing a disinflationary kind of an environment. At that time, if you come and tell me that crude का price ऊपर जाएगा and it will beat the all-time high also, does not make sense. अपना सीधा हिसाब है भाई. We try to talk things logically. Finance is completely logical. यहाँ पे देखिए, in the finance, the best thing about finance is it is a very subjective matter. So two individuals can differ also in their opinion. Agreed. That is why I don't like arguing with people. When somebody comes and tell me, तूने गलत बोला, you are wrong with what you said. I said, yeah, that's your opinion, and I have to respect your opinion. So if you say I am wrong with something, it's okay. Don't say wrong or right. That's maturity. That's a matter of maturity. Don't call something wrong or right. If you subjectively feel you are different, your opinion is different from mine, it's okay. You may respect my opinion, you may not respect my opinion, but you can also put across your opinion without calling somebody else's opinion wrong. That is maturity in finance. If you're talking law, there are sections, there are subsections, there are provisions, there are provisos. Law is law. Uska interpretation can differ. Somebody may interpret correctly, somebody may misinterpret the law. But law is supreme. Everything comes below the law. Same goes in accounting. There are accounting standards. Accounting standards will decide everything, how the accounts have to be maintained. Similarly, there are standards on auditing also. How audits are supposed to be done, there are standards which explain you how you're supposed to do auditing. You understand what I'm saying? So even for direct taxation, indirect taxation, there are GST laws, there are Income Tax Act. So you have to go by that. But finance mein, financial management mein, there are no laws. It's subjectivity. So जहाँ subjectivity है, वहाँ better है कि आप logically सोचिए. Try to think logically. Now last week when I told you to buy Naveen Fluorine, you think about it. When there is a constant selling coming in a stock, why would I come and on record tell my listeners, the subscribers, to go and buy Naveen Fluorine? Is it like I like playing with fire? No. But I applied my logics. A company like Naveen Fluorine, which is a listed company doing business for decades of years, and they're doing really good in their business, the chemical sector, just because, MD leaving the company is a big worry. It's a big worry. It puts a big question mark on the reputation and the corporate governance of the organization. But then you read into the lines, you understand the stock has already been slapped with 15% downside just because of this one news. So you feel the U-turn will never happen in the stock? Illogical. One person does not run the show. ये कोई बनिया का दुकान तो है नहीं. This is not a bloody grocery shop where if the person who is running the shop does not come, the shop won't open. So you have to, this is just one example I am giving you. So when I told you that, okay, Naveen Fluorine from high has come down to its 52-week low, chemical stocks were anyways beaten down, I feel a recovery in the chemical sector will come with China again revive. With demand again picking up in China, I feel chemical stocks will do well. And that is when even Naveen will do well. Just because one MD has left the company does not make it a bad stock. Okay, so you will have to apply your logics when you're talking anything. You're talking about recession, you're talking about tightening of monetary policy, you're talking about country going into recession. All these things, if you think logically, it will start making sense to you. Your logics may not hold good in real life. You have to be mentally prepared for that. You should be matured enough to understand that. But most of the times, if you try to apply your logics, you will find your answers, right? Okay, let's talk about the indices. Dow Jones, I have already told you, till the time it is respecting 33,200 mark, I am okay with it. I don't see markets going into a negative trajectory till the time it is giving that convincing closing below 33,200. So 32,800 to 33,200 has become the new support zone for us right now. And if it can go up above 33,800, that is when I would be more confident about Dow Jones. Like I told you Friday, probably the crude played a bigger role compared to jobs being created, because jobs being created, like I explained you, has left a negative frame of mind on everybody's mind. It is playing now that probably recession is going to happen because inflation does not seem to be coming in control, right, because of more jobs being created. But I think the crude prices going down is a big plus for the industry. Nasdaq is, like I told you, Nasdaq till the time it is able to sustain about 12,800, which it has not failed since the time it first crossed 12,800 mark. It has not failed below that levels, so it is looking very okay. Nifty, I think, will be range bound now, and from here on, I think Nifty going past 19,750, 19,800 levels will be very surprising for me, because I feel Nifty going above 19,750, 800 levels can only be justified if you see Dow Jones closing above 34,200, which means Dow Jones still has to go up by around 800, 900 points. When I feel that Nifty should be crossing its 19,750, 19,800 mark. Till that time, I think 19,500 to 19,800 has become a new zone for Nifty, and it will it will stay sticky in this zone for some time, and it will wait and watch for Dow Jones. And remember this, guys, during all this while, a lot of money has been flowing out of the country. The FPIs have been withdrawing money from India like anything. And that is the reason you see most of these large cap stocks are going down on a regular basis, because most of the FPIs, the foreign institutional investors, they are holding more of large cap stocks in their portfolio. And at the same time, 15 to 16,000 crores is coming into the Indian equity markets through SIPs, mutual funds. And most of these mutual funds, they try to put their money in mid cap and small cap stocks. That is why you see even now the mid cap and small cap stocks are hardly showing any correction, but large cap stocks are constantly falling. Just because TCS has announced their 16,000 to 80,000 crores worth of buyback, which the decision will be taken probably on 11th or 12th of October. That is the reason TCS was sustaining around 3,600 mark on Friday and Thursday even. But apart from that, if you see, there has not been a convincing upside in stocks like Reliance or Infosys, HDFC Bank. There has not been much of upside. So I strongly feel right now the safe option is to try and put your money slowly and steadily in large cap stocks. And you have to be very careful, very finicky with what you're picking up in small and mid cap stocks. With most of these stocks touching their high values, there has been a saturation coming into these stocks. So you have to be very cautious and careful, guys, with mid cap and small cap. I would rather suggest you, this is the safest and the best time to start picking up some of these stocks like Reliance or Infosys, HDFC Bank, and Kotak Bank for that matter. I've been constantly telling you that yes, Kotak Bank has been out of favor for a long time now, but this is the time when people are not noticing the stock. That is when you have to buy stocks like Kotak Bank. Okay, I hope the video has been useful, guys. If you like it, please leave a thumbs up. Please leave some comments for me, because I really cherish whatever you write for me, and I really feel good about it. Next week, I think, just to break the monotony, we will do this question and answer session where I will ask you to drop some questions and I'll try to answer it for you. Let's keep it more conceptual, knowledgeable session. We have to make it, okay, rather than being only stock specific, okay, which you people are very good at, asking me only stocks. Okay, I hope the video has been useful. So till we meet again, bye bye. God bless all of you. Cheers, guys. Cheers.